The last section of our book, Westward to Home, Joshua's Oregon Trail Diary, is the historical note. In the mid 1800s in the United States, there was a huge migration of folks leaving their homes in the East and surging westward. They went in covered wagons, they went by foot, they went on horseback and muleback. They went in huge caravans with many others for company, and some brave souls traveled with no more than two or three others. But go they did. They went for many different reasons. Some were in search of a better life, for were promised land in Oregon, free land. Some went because in the East, some went because times in the East were hard, with a drought, worn out farmland, and a depression. Some went to escape the terrible plague of disease that was ravaging the country at that time. And some went just because they were restless, for the spirit of adventure was strong in early Americans. These early settlers who went to Oregon and California were called immigrants at first, for it was felt that they were migrating to a foreign land, and indeed they were. Both the United States and Great Britain had laid claim to that land, and it had not yet become part of the United States. Once it was annexed, however, the dreams became a reality: lush land and free land. But the cost was high in other ways than money. Some did not live to see this promised land, for the trail across the lonesome prairie was fraught with danger. There were struggles with heat, fierce sun, prairie fires, winds, and vicious ice and hailstorms, like the likes of which many had never seen in the East. There were snakes and wolves to contend with. There were drowning accidents, and accidents when wagons overturned, sometimes killing the occupants. There were also other natural disasters such as illness. Though many settlers went on the trail to escape disease, in fact, they brought it with them. Many died and were buried right on the trail. There was also the constant threat of an Indian attack, for the Indians believed that no one owned the land and that the settlers believed otherwise. Yet, for the fortunate ones who did make it, the trails brought them to a promised land. They had found what they had come looking for: a land and opportunity, and, for some, simply a fresh start. They were the first to truly succeed in expanding our country from sea to shining sea. About the author, Patricia Herms has never crossed the prairie in a covered wagon, but she has had much experience with the cost of uprooting a family and moving from one part of the country to another. When she wrote about Joshua, she relied at least a bit on her experience of the boys she knows well, her four sons. She says, today, though we are spared the trials of the early settlers, there is still the deep loneliness and loss that one feels when leaving behind one's home and family and friends. And some family is just too dear to leave behind. That's why, when in writing this book, I could not bear for Joshua to leave his grandpa behind. So grandpa came with him. In the end, Joshua was able finally to overcome all the hardships of the move, and when settled in his new land, he began to feel at home, as we have. Patricia Herms is the author of more than 30 books for children and young adults. She has written another book in the My America series, Our Strange New Land, the story of Elizabeth Baker in Jamestown, Virginia in 1609. Many of her books have received awards, from the Children's Choice Awards to state awards, ALA Best Books, and ALA Notable Book Awards. So, there are other books in this series of Westward to Home with Joshua on his journey. You can check them out by going to scholastic.com and typing in the search bar My America Westward to Home and seeing the different books that they have to offer. Hope you guys enjoyed it.